Hey there, my name is Brashler, and in this video, I'm going to be teaching you how to EQ on the Midas DP48. Now, if you're brand new to my channel, I'm all about helping you feel more confident with your production gear no matter where you're starting from. So let's go ahead and dive in. Now, I have the Midas DP48 here, and on all 12 of my groups, I have a 3-band EQ. So I have a low, a mid, and a high on each of my groups. Now, we can go ahead and associate channels with a group by going and assigning them. So for instance, on my bass, there's my bass guitar, and on my guitars, if I rotate this over to my guitars, we can see acoustic, electric guitar 1 left, right, electric guitar 2 left, and right. Now we also have my vocal group here, so we can see vocal 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so what I want to do is just teach you how to do a little bit of EQ adjustments on your DP48. Now, my suggestion is to always make a default setting on your DP48 that has everything at 0, panned in the middle, compression turned off, and the EQ flattened out. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to just go through one by one and make sure that our level is set to 0 on both of these, on each one. And so we can see that I'm just going through here, turning things off. All right. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is go through and set the compression and EQ to make sure that all of them are at 0 with the reverb off. Now, once I've done that, I can go ahead and press the setup and SD record, and we can go ahead and save this into a storage slot. So I can go ahead and select any of these storage slots. So I'm going to go ahead and select 12. And so now if we wanted to load this up, we can go load, and then we can see that we could just load up 12. Once we're done, we can press both of those again. So what I can do here now is I can get some audio playing into my DP48. So I have some tracks here, and if we get out of this, we can see that I have audio on all of these tracks. So I'm going to take a look at my vocal, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this up. Now, when I'm listening to this, there is a lot of low-end bleed from the stage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my EQ, and I am going to take all of this low end, and I'm just going to remove it. And so what we've done is we've just selected the low band EQ, and I've taken the gain, instead of it being at 0, is I've just turned it down. And a good spot to start with this is either 80 or 100 hertz. And this is really going to be key for any instruments that don't really provide any subwoofer information. So say you had an acoustic guitar. There's no low end coming from an acoustic guitar that's going to be helpful for your mix on your DP48. So I can go through and find all of the channels and just either add some low end or remove some low end if I'm thinking that those channels need it. So for instance, my kick drum, I would need to add some low end to make it sound right in my ears. And so what I'm going to do is then press the select edit button, and then I can actually change where this EQ is starting. That would be too high. Anywhere between 100 to 63 is going to be right for my kick. Now remember, this is dependent especially on how it's being sent from your mixer. So if I go over to my Behringer Wing and go to my outputs, we can see that I am pulling all of these directly from my card. And so this means that there is no EQ, no compression, no gating being applied to these channels. This is also going to be the same if you are pulling it directly from the stage box, meaning that all of the EQ and adjustments that your mix engineer is doing isn't going to reflect on your DP48. So you will have to do a little bit of EQ adjustment on all of your inputs here. Now remember that the EQ adjustment is going to be dedicated to this unit, which means that both mix A and mix B would be sharing the EQ and the compression and the reverb settings that you're choosing. So let's continue going with doing some more EQ. So one spot that I especially don't like on the kick drum is in the 400 range. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select mid, and we are going to go and find the 400, and then I am going to press again and just turn it down. And we can go ahead and add in some snare and add in some toms. And some overheads. Now for the snare, I'm going to do some similar EQ. I can go and take this down into the 50 Hz range and remove some. And then I can go to mid and I can go and boost some of the 125. Let's go ahead and go to the toms here and do the same thing with boosting the 100. Turn it up a little bit. We can then go to low and remove some of the low end. So on the snare, there's not much low end bleed here, but I'm always going to remove some low end when I can. Same thing with the overheads here. I'm going to go ahead and cut out, and we're going to take this up to about 200. And so what this has done is just kind of cleaned up some of these drums. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is go ahead and add in some bass. And I can tell that this one needs a little bit of low end. And I'm going to go up into the 125, maybe even 160 to just get a little bit more of the low-end body of this bass guitar. And if I was wanting to remove some of the high end, I can go ahead and come down to about 2 kilohertz and remove some high end. Now, if I was wanting some more intonation of this bass guitar, I can go into the 1 to 2 kilohertz range and go ahead and boost that. Okay, so the next thing we have is guitars. So all of this, I'm going to go ahead and remove. And I'm then going to go down to my low, and all of this, in my guitars, I'm going to go ahead and remove. Now if I was wanting a little bit more mid of my electric guitars, I can go into the 1.2K and go ahead and boost some of this. Now the next thing we have is our keys. Now keys are going to be a full range instrument, so you don't need to remove the low end unless it's just overbearing in your ears. And we can go to our tracks. Now I am going to go ahead and remove some of the low end from our tracks and our keys, just to kind of clear up this mix just a little bit in my ears. Now, if we want to take our mix a step farther, one thing that we could do is start panning some of our toms. So if we turn this back up here, I can go in and select my toms, and I can press Edit. Now, I have the ability of adjusting the volume of individual channels as well as the panning. So if I am from the drummer's perspective, my tom 1, I would need to pan slightly to the left. So I can go ahead and press the Select Edit button, and we can start panning here. Okay, and then we can move over to the next channel by using our adjustment here. So here's our tom 2, which I'll do slightly to the right. And then our tom 3, which will be all the way right. And we can also do the same thing with our overheads. So here's our overhead left and our overhead right. Now snare, I'm going to keep right in the middle, and same with our kick drum. I'm also going to be keeping that right in the middle. Now if we go over to our bass guitar, I'm going to keep him in the middle as well, and then we have our acoustic, our electric guitar. We can pan to the left, and we can pan him a little bit here. And then on my electric guitar 2, I'm going to pan him just halfway, and then on the right side, we're going to pan him that way. Now, keys, we can go ahead and pan left and right. And then the piano, we could go and pan halfway if we wanted to. Now we can even go and pan all of our tracks if they are indeed left and right, which mine are. Now in the next video, I'm going to be talking about the compression of the DP48 and how that can also help us get even a better mix for our ears to be able to hear the things that we want to in the mix of the DP48. Now I hope this video was helpful for you today. If you do happen to have any questions, or if there's a video that you're hoping that I would make on the Midas DP48 or really any of the other production equipment that's out there, please post that in the comment section down below, as I'm always reading through those comments to find videos that are going to be helpful for you. If you haven't already, make sure to check out my website at drewbrashler.com. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day.